Welcome to the Nurses Break Room. It's not a place we get to visit very often in real life, but you're always welcome to come and recharge here. And while you're at it, head to selfcareisn'tselfish.com and grab your free copy of my book, Self-Care Isn't Selfish, The Compassionate Nurse's Step-by-Step Guide to Personalized Stress Relief. It's packed with simple, effective strategies to help you prioritize your needs without guilt so you can feel energized, focused, and ready to take on the day. Grab yours at selfcareisn'tselfish.com. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Nurses Break Room with Jenny Lytle, RN. We're going to be focusing on mental health because October 10th is World Mental Health Day. And there's a lot of talk about mental health these days, much more so than there used to be. And so I think that's a positive thing, and it's helping to decrease the stigma to a certain extent. But it's also something that can sometimes be very casually thrown out there with different mental health challenges that people are having. And sometimes some of us can tend to identify with maybe a particular mental health diagnosis and really take that on as a huge part of our identity. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily wrong, but it's just something to consider, regardless of what types of mental or physical illnesses or attributes we may have. We're so much more than that. We're more than just one piece of ourselves, more than one diagnosis, more than one set of circumstances. We're very complex individuals. And so, as we're approaching World Mental Health Day, I encourage you to think about what is it that makes you you? What are the things that you know help your mental health, that make you feel stronger, make you feel more at peace with yourself and within your body, versus the things that you know make you kind of feel like you're struggling or like you're not measuring up. And figuring out how can some of those things that you know help you, that you know make you feel better about yourself, how can some of those things be put on the forefront instead of focusing on the challenges and the struggles that you're having? The reality is we all have struggles. We all have things that we're going through, and sometimes more than others. But when we get so wrapped up in all of the things that maybe we wish were different or that aren't going the way we would like them to, then that can be kind of a slippery slope. And so I just encourage you to think about the things that maybe you've faced and come through on the other side of, the lessons you've learned, the people that you've met that maybe you wouldn't have met if it weren't for some of the challenges that you've had. As a nurse, I have encountered many people with multiple physical and mental health challenges, and I faced some of my own. And at the time I'm recording this, today is 20 years ago since I officially started my hospice career. I started my first hospice job 20 years ago today, and there were definitely some mental health challenges that have gone along with that. And I took a step back from it for a while, and now I work in a different capacity than I used to. But when we are in caregiving roles, whether that be professionally, if you happen to be a nurse or a doctor or an aide or somebody working, in other healthcare professional roles, or if you're in a family caregiver role where maybe you're caring for parents or children or siblings that are needing your assistance, those are things that can weigh really heavily on us. And sometimes we have a tendency to kind of stuff those things down over and over, and then eventually it's going to catch up with us. And so that's why I'm so passionate about being able to speak up and do the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves, because it's really the only way that we're able to continue to care for others. So this week, if you're somebody that does have some mental health struggles, then maybe think about the things that you've learned from that. Maybe it's increased compassion or empathy for other people. Maybe it's learning that some things that maybe seem innocent to some people can be hurtful, and so you're more careful not to say those kind of things. And maybe think of a way that you can share what you've learned with others this week. Not in a holier than thou or I've got it all figured out kind of way, but just as a way of sharing your humanness and sharing what your experiences have taught you, and encourage other people to do the same. Until next time, remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's the only way we can continue to care for others and live our best lives. Have a great week. Disclaimer. Although I am a registered nurse, the medical and health information contained in this podcast is provided for general information and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice. Therefore, before taking any actions based upon such information, I encourage you to consult with appropriate professionals. I do not provide any specific medical or health advice, and the use of or reliance on any information contained in this podcast is solely at your own risk.